What is hopelessness? To be without hope. To be in despair. Now, hopelessness comes about in many nasty forms. A meaningless marriage, an unexpected yearning, a relentless illness, a hardship, an economic yearning, a destructive war. Unfortunately, I could go on and on and on. The cold, harsh truth, the reality, is that despair, and as a result, hopelessness, exists in this world. But then what gives me the reason to get out of bed in the morning to do what I do? What is the light at the end of the tunnel? The silence to the ear-piercing gunshots, the end to the gloomy storm, simply what is our purpose? Today I'd like to answer that question in a way that motivates and inspires us to live every single day with a willingness and a drive. It's the single question that challenges every single one of our beliefs. So therefore, hopefully we have an answer, and hopefully it's the right one. As Mark Twain once said, the two most important times in a man's life are when he is born and the reason he finds out why. Now, it's only warranted we understand what purpose is before going any further. Now, the dictionary defines purpose as the innate reason for something's creation. Burger and fries is created to satisfy hunger. Google was created to have access to everything for everyone, and to also help me spell check words I didn't know how to write for this speech. Running shoes was created, its purpose is to run more effectively, or in my case, gather dust in my closet because I don't like running. And Stoa Speech and Debate's purpose is to speak boldly, changing the world for Christ. With four completely different objects, they all had an innate reason for their creation. So then the question arises, what is ours? Well, we have to look to our Creator, the being that gave us a purpose, the God of the universe, who's placed us on this earth with a purpose, a meaning, and a reason. And you could agree or disagree with me, but the reality is that without a Creator, without somebody that planned us, then we have no purpose. And for me, that's too saddening to accept, and I won't accept it. For as a former president once said, a man without a purpose is like a ship. And you know the thing about a ship without a rudder is eventually it's bound to crash upon the rocks with no way to avoid its treachery. According to the National Suicide Prevention in the United States, over 1 million people try to commit suicide every single year. When you get to the point where you want to end your life, you have to believe with almost every single ounce inside of you that you have no purpose. And society goes around trying to find purpose, looking for different things and items. An interviewer did a survey on a college campus, and he asked the students, why are you studying this major? And he said, to make a lot of money. And he asked again, why? So I can buy a good house. And he asked, and why? So my family can be raised in a good house, so they can get into a good college, so they can get a good major, so they can make a lot of money. It goes on and on and on. It's circular. Society looks to things like drugs, like adrenaline rushes, perhaps not as scary, but work. We look to different things to find our purpose. Perhaps it's money, it's power, it's fame. Our internal greed never satisfied. The problem with our culture is we look to find purpose where God does not dwell. And today I brought with me a flag. Now, in today's culture, this is often represented as homosexual rights, LGBT, that regardless of your sexuality, you should be given equality. But I didn't bring this flag today to talk about LGBT rights, actually something completely different. I brought this flag today to talk about what society defines our purpose as and what God defines our purpose as. Because if we look to Genesis 9:12 through 17, God created the rainbow to a covenant between man and God. It was the token to show that He cares and He loves about every single one of us. And He has put us on this earth for a reason. So once again, the question arises, what's my purpose? And it's funny to think about, but perhaps the rainbow even represents that. Each color by itself is singular and monotone. But when put together and looked back, you can see that it's the beautiful tapestry, the beautiful plan of God that He has put in our lives. Therefore, we must search, strive, and accept the talents God has placed in our lives. We have to look for the yearnings He has placed. And then we have to live every single day with that purpose God has created for us. Through prayer, through reading His Word. For a long time, family friend who recently passed away, her purpose was to educate children. And she dutifully lived out that purpose every single Sunday at Sunday school, teaching out the next generation of believers. For Johnny Erickson Tada, who has a foundation near my house, she tries to reach people who are disabled within the entire world. And regardless through her pain, God has placed a purpose to reach non-believers through that mission. And finally, and most importantly, Jesus Christ came down to this earth to give us a purpose, to die on the cross, to show us that He cares about us. The question is not, do we have the purpose? The question is, what is our purpose? What will create the beautiful tapestry of God? And today, I started my speech by asking the question, what makes you get out of bed? And for me, I struggled with that question. Could God truthfully give every single one of us a purpose? But I realized I was blinded by society. My eyes were covered, and I had to look to God to realize that He gives us abilities, He gives us talents to praise and glorify Him. The thing is, why work if we have no purpose? Perhaps we're not here to find what our purpose is, but what God has placed us here. So I ask you again, what is